Наступает диктатура, заявляюсь со всей ответственностью. Никто не знает, какая это будет диктатура и кто придет.
Gorbachev had changed tack. He tightened security and brought hardliners into government. He appointed Gennady Yanayev his deputy. Yanayev declared, "I am a communist to the depths of my soul." Vilnius, Lithuania. On the 11th and 12th of January 1991, crack Soviet troops entered the capital to take back public buildings for the Soviet state. Lithuanians flocked to defend their parliament and the radio and television stations. In the early hours of January the 13th, Soviet tanks attacked. If Lithuania were allowed to break free, there would be nothing to stop the other republics doing the same.
Some people tried to push the tank back with their bare hands. My legs got tangled. I stumbled and fell on my back. I felt the tank treads pressing on my legs. I didn't feel great pain, but I was shouting very loudly with all my strength, "Mama."
Loretta's leg was saved. In the fighting, hundreds were injured. 14 were killed. In Moscow, thousands marched to protest against the crackdown. Gorbachev, caught in the middle, defended his government's actions.
Мы же не можем допустить так. Ни центр, ни республики не можем стать на такую, чтобы не видеть это, что если ситуация такая возникает, там трудно предсказать, что может произойти.
Army Day, 1991. The banners say "Strong Army, Strong Union" and "No to capitalism in the Soviet Union." Back to the old ways. In summer, Gorbachev went to London. As usual, he basked in the welcome he received overseas. He had business to do. At the United States Embassy, he met Bush and agreed the terms of another New Deal on arms limitation. But for the Soviet economy, the urgent need was for financial aid. Gorbachev asked the leading capitalist countries for massive loans. In seeking to end the Cold War, he was doing them all a favor. But in spite of the smiles and the handshakes, they turned him down flat. In Moscow, his enemies were preparing to move against him.
I wrote
a letter to Gorbachev, warning him that trouble was brewing. He replied, "Alexander, you overestimate their intelligence and courage." In July, I resigned. I said, "Something's cooking, I can sense it." He ignored me and went on holiday.
Gorbachev had drafted a new Union treaty, loosening the ties between the Soviet center and the republics. When it was due for signature in August, hard-line communists were appalled. Boris Pugo, Dmitry Yazov, Gennady Yanayev, Vladimir Khrushchev.
When I read the text for the first time on the 15th of August, I was amazed by the fact that we only had 4 days left to the end of the Soviet Union.
On August the 18th, a delegation arrived in the Crimea, where Gorbachev was on holiday. They demanded he declare a state of emergency and hand over power. He refused and was put under house arrest. On August the 19th, Moscow awoke to the sound of tanks and the news that Gorbachev was ill. An emergency committee had taken over.
This is a CNN special report.
Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev is, according to the official Soviet TASS news agency, out of office at this hour, replaced by his vice president, Gennady Yanayev. The White House, we are told, has now been informed. President Bush is apparently checking with officials on the situation.
Well, let me make a few comments about these momentous and stunning events. While we're still watching the situation unfold, and it still is unfolding, all is not clear, it seems clearer all the time that contrary to official statements out of Moscow, that this move was extra-constitutional.
In Moscow, confused and concerned, people began to gather at the Russian Parliament building, the White House. No one knew where or how Gorbachev was, or what was really happening. Boris Yeltsin, Gorbachev's enemy and rival, defended him and the Constitution.
Давайте будем держаться твердо. Не пройдет реакция. Реакция не пройдет. Нет.
Yeltsin entered the Parliament building and prepared to resist. The coup had not succeeded in seizing power outright. Soldiers were refusing to obey the emergency committee. Some commanders turned their tanks around.
Я очень рада, что солдаты наши нас поняли.
Die Soldaten haben uns verstanden. Das ist so eine Freude für uns.
Я надеюсь, что это был не только приказ их командира, но и их внутреннее желание.
Anxious crowds grew throughout the day. On the evening of the 19th, nervously, the plotters held a televised press conference.
Советский народ был информирован о создании комитета по чрезвычайному положению.
They were frightened. They had shaking hands. It was clear they didn't know what to do. At the same time, I felt scared because, God forbid, they should really come to power. What would happen then?
Gorbachev was unable to contact the outside world. He recorded this statement to a home video camera. No one saw it. As night fell, fears grew that the emergency committee, increasingly desperate, might order an attack on the White House and its defenders.
We were defending a free Russia, and the symbol of free Russia was Yeltsin. We joined hands and waited for the tanks in dead silence.
As the armored vehicles moved among them, 3 young men were killed. At 3 in the morning, Khrushchev called Yeltsin in the White House and admitted defeat.
We were not bloodthirsty. We were not ready to pay any price to hold on to power.
Yeltsin sent a plane to bring Gorbachev back to Moscow. He arrived early on August the 22nd.
Все, что мы сделали после 1985 года, уже дало свои реальные плоды. Общество, люди наши стали другими, и это было главным препятствием на пути этой авантюры, на которых встали группа лиц.
Far more was changed than Gorbachev realized. Yeltsin was the victor and was now in command.
Сегодня приняло решение объявить государственным флагом России трехцветный флаг.
The next day, in the Russian parliament, Yeltsin rammed home his victory.
Вот Борис Николаевич мне сейчас, когда уже мы встретились, он дал краткое изложение заседания Кабинета министров, но я его еще не читал.
Humiliated by Yeltsin, and at last realizing that the Communist Party of the Soviet Union's role was finished, Gorbachev resigned as General Secretary. As talks on the Union continued, Gorbachev, still president of the USSR,